Hey everybody, it's Jeff with Live Fire Cooking with Grandpa's Pride, and today we're going to be doing a cold smoked salmon. Couple questions for you. Are you independently wealthy?
Nope.
Do you like cold smoked salmon?
Yep.
Well, if you like cold smoked salmon and you're not independently wealthy and want to be able to enjoy it on the dime, today's show's for you. Stand by, let's get going. Hey there. So like I said, my wife and I really like cold smoked salmon, and despite my chiseled and polished appearance, I am not a man of independent wealth. So we buy our own salmon and we smoke it ourselves, cold smoke it. It tastes really good. And so the cost compared to this, I was looking at a package last night. It was $6 for 4 ounces. That turns out to $1.50 an ounce. So with this was $32.75, and it was about 2 3/4 pounds. That comes out to 91 cents an ounce. Now, in my world, that's a savings. The ingredients I'm going to be using aren't that expensive. The salmon is the most expensive thing. So, what this is here, this is just a farm-raised salmon fillet. I got the whole fillet. It says it was never frozen, but you never know. You have to trust these folks. So what we're going to do first of all, you want to check for bones, and I'll do that here in a minute with my handy dandy pliers. But this part right here, this belly meat, is really thin. So I'm going to just remove that. Now I'm not going to get rid of it or throw it away. I'll cook it. I just don't want to cold smoke it and have it turn out real thin on me. There we go. Riley would love this. Okay, now we got something resembling even texture, even size. Okay, so they allegedly removed the bones, but if you look in here, you can still see them. Little pin bones in here. Yeah, they've done a pretty good job of deboning this one. Down towards the end here, you can feel some bones in it. But all in all, it's pretty well deboned. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this end off. Now, like I said, yes, I'm cutting off some ounces and I'm cutting into my savings, but I'm gonna cook that for breakfast, so it's not a big deal. So, okay, so we've made sure there's no pin bones left in our fillet here. They did a really good job of getting those out. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay out my plastic wrap, and I'm gonna make a very simple cure. It's not sick. It's a cure that's basically going to be salt and sugar. It's going to draw out the moisture, and it's going to sit in that cure for about 24 hours, and then tomorrow we will apply the cold smoke to it. So let's work on that. Okay, so you see I got the salmon laid out here. I've got it on some double layered cling wrap, saran wrap, whatever you want to call it. This is my cure. This is a simple salt and sugar cure. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. I use, please use kosher salt. Don't use table salt. If you do, you're not going to be happy. Use kosher salt for this, and then you can use white sugar, but I use I think it's Demoraga sugar, something I think that's what it's called. All right, so all I'm going to do, I'm going to liberally, well, I'm going to start on the other side actually first. I'm going to liberally apply this. You want to cover the fish because what you want to do is the salt and sugar are going to work together to pull out the moisture in the fish to cure it. Now this skin on here is basically going to turn to a leather almost. Make a nice wallet for Christmas for your mother-in-law. All right, so that's on there pretty good. Going to flip her over. There we go. I'm going to rinse and repeat. Don't worry about it tasting like it's too sweet or too salty, because it's not going to be. The salt and sugar will just work to bring out the moisture in the fish. So that's what we're aiming for. Salt and sugar, or salt specifically, is really good at making a bacterial wasteland so things can't really grow in it. So you don't have to worry too much about that. But we are going to put this back in the refrigerator to let this cure do its magic. There. So all I'm going to do now, I'm going to wrap up our little fishy. Get out of the way. And start wrapping it up. I'm going to get me another piece of cling wrap, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I didn't video wrapping up the rest of the fish because, well, it's wrapping up fish. So this is going to go now into the refrigerator, where it will rest for at least 24 hours. And what we're going to notice after 24 hours, there's a lot of liquid that's going to come out of this. So when you put it in your refrigerator or a cooler or whatever you choose to do, be sure you put a pan or some sort of catchment device underneath it, because if you don't, somebody's going to be very unhappy with you. Never mind how I know. So, all right, so this is going into the refrigerator. Riley's excited, as you can tell. He hates a camera. He's very shy. So, going to work on this, put it in the fridge, and that'll be it. We'll see y'all in the morning. Hey there, everybody. It's time for another one of Jeff's Top Tech Tips. Today, I'm showing you a vacuum sealer. These are really great to have if you're going to be doing a lot of large meats like butts or briskets that you want to save it for later. You don't want to use it all up. Maybe save it for some stews or soups later on, or just for eating later. It's also really good if you're going to be cold smoking cheese, things like that, because cheese needs to sit for about 3 or 4 weeks after you smoke it. And it's great to vacuum seal it. So this is a Ziploc brand sealer, vacuum sealer. You basically get this bag material, and you can find the bag material anywhere. It's you seal one in, and you can make it as long as you want it to be. You put your meat items in there, or cheese or whatever. Put it in here, close the lid, lock it down. It'll suck the air out of it and seal the other end up for you, and it's just going to keep for a long time. You know, vacuum sealing helps cut down on freezer burn, helps things to last longer. I believe you can sous vide to reheat it using these bags. I'm not 100% positive on that. So again, they're relatively inexpensive. I think we paid, I don't know, maybe 30 bucks for this one. Again, it's a Ziploc brand. There's all kinds of them out there. Really big industrial ones, or just the little home use ones here like this. So again, I encourage you to check them out if you're going to be doing a lot of large meats or cheeses or things that need to sit for a while. It's really a great way to save what you make. So that's today's Top Tech Tip. Thanks. Good morning, everybody. It's been roughly 24 hours-ish since we put our intrepid salmon in its cure. So happy Valentine's Day, by the way, to everyone. How many of you guys out there can say you got your wife a fish for Valentine's Day? It's not as good a gift as you would think. Anyway, so if you'll look down here, this is why we make sure we put our salmon in something, because you see all the juice that's come out. And notice, I'm going to pick this up, I'm just holding it like this. Look how stiff it is now. Okay, that's because of the cure, what it's done to it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take all the cling wrap off. Riley says good morning. He's shaking for some reason. He's a strange dog. All right. So I'm just going to take this off, and we're going to rinse it off. That's why I was saying don't worry about all the salt, the sugar, and everything, because it's going to come off anyway. The cure, look at the color. You can see the color change in it. Okay, this is what we wanted. All the liquid there. Yeah, that's what we wanted to have happen. All right. So, into the bath. See how stiff it's gotten? And that's what we wanted. That's a good sign there. So we're just going to rinse it off. Just cold water. We want to get all the salt, sugar off of it. There's the leathery skin. So the cure has denatured the meat a little bit. It feels different. It's a firmer texture now. It's darker. The skin definitely feels, I mean, literally just like leather. Okay, I'll put this here. I'm gonna put it on a nice rack here. Now, let me get a couple paper towels because I'm gonna pat it dry. Because one thing we want is a dry surface. Hold on. So I'm gonna pat it dry, basically, because what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put it under the fan for about an hour. This is gonna dry it out because what we wanna do is develop what's called a pellicle. A pellicle is a tacky texture on the surface, if you recall. Tackiness is what helps the smoke to stick to it. Right now we could eat this just as it is. Well, I mean, we could have eaten it raw. Bears do it every day, and so do Japanese with sushi. But this now, you could eat it. It's called gravlax, I think. I might be wrong about that. But you could eat it just as it is now, but we're gonna add some cold smoke to it, and that'll give it some smoky flavor and everything. So I'm gonna get the fan to this, and we will, next we meet, we'll be outside at the smoker as we start to cold smoke this. So we'll get back up here and we'll be back in just a bit. Okay, so we're outside of what my wife calls the cold. It's like in the 50s and the wind's blowing, but it's fine for me. So we're gonna be cold smoking this salmon. Cold smoking is exactly what that implies. There is no heat. It's just smoke being put off. So you want to do it on a day when it's really kind of cool. If it's a little warmer, you can get away with taking a big pan of ice, putting whatever you're going to cold smoke over that on a rack, and that keeps the temperature down at the meat level. So, but this right here is called an amazing pellet tray. And basically what's going to happen is I'm going to light this end. It's going to slowly burn and smolder all the way through. So I'll get about 6 hours of smoke out of this. When it's full, you get about 10 to 12 hours. So double smoke, you light both ends, but since I just kind of want a light smoke, I'm only going to light one end. But the good news is I get to use my favorite tool, the torch. So all I'm doing is lighting this end up. And you want to leave it, you want to burn it for about a minute. And then what I'll do is I'll just leave it smoldering and burning for about a couple minutes, 5 minutes at least, to make sure it's caught really well. Okay, so I'm going to let this go for a couple minutes just to make sure that it's caught really well, and then I'll blow it out. And so what'll happen is it'll just kind of smolder through. So I'm using the Sherry Lynn today. A big smoker because it has a really big chamber in it. Now you could use a Weber kettle for this. You could use a cardboard box. Alton Brown did that. He was an episode where he smoked some salmon. But I'm going to use this. It's really good. You get a nice draft to keep the embers going, and it works out really well. So give me just a minute and we'll get this going. So you can see from this tray what it does, all the smoke that it creates. So I want to keep it out just another minute or two to make sure that it's really caught good, caught well. And here's our salmon. It's got a nice sticky surface to it right now. So that's perfect for catching the smoke. Once I put this in and get it started, I'm not going to spritz or anything like I normally do when I'm cooking something, because this will do and serve well enough to capture the smoke that I want. So I'm going to take this, close this. This is the versatility of a nice big smoker. You don't have to use it for really large things, big things going on, whatever. It's a good platform to use for cold smoking. Again, this is the Shirley fabrication. I've got the dampers open at this end, and it's not going to create much heat at all, but still there will be some draft coming through to make sure this stays lit well. So you can see the smoke that it's creating. So I'll come back and check it in just a few minutes to make sure that it's caught really well. And if it hasn't, I'll bring out the torch and I'll hit it again. So we're going to close her up now, and I'll leave it in here 4 to 6 hours. no big hurry on it. Good thing is it's kind of fire and forget. I don't have to mess with it after this point. So see y'all in a little bit. So it's been cooking about 3.5, 4 hours or cold smoking. I just took it off, letting it just kind of sit here a little bit. It smells wonderful. It's got that nice leathery feel to the top. And what we're going to do now is we're going to toast some bagels, and I'll show you how we wind up eating it. So remember, cold smoking, again, you want to keep it under 85 to 95 degrees in the cook chamber. Like I said, today was a cold, wintry day here for Florida, so I think the outside temperature is in the 40s, so there was no issues with that. It did great. The amazing pellet tray did great. Not a nice smoke to it. So we're going to toast up some bagels and we're going to have some lunch. So we'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to slice this up now. We've already toasted some bagels. We've got cream cheese on there. I'm a chili head, so I put some pickled jalapenos on mine. Oftentimes people will put capers, a little dill, sometimes tomatoes. I don't know why, but anyway. So we have tasted this already and it tastes really well. So when you go to slice it, you want a really sharp, you want a long knife. You don't want to have to be hacking at it. So what you're going to do is you're going to just do a very long draw to get a very thin piece. Now this is kind of a thin end, so the skin is tough. Don't worry about getting into the skin because you're not going to. It's just so tough you're not going to cut it. Knife and just kind of bend it along. There we go. And just repeat. So I'm really pressing down almost like a fillet knife. And a little more for one of them. So getting to the bottom and just making the turn. Okay. One more piece. There we go. All right, I'm gonna put this on my bagel right here. There we go. Give it a little taste. That's really good. They get any on me? You get the salmon with a little bit of that briny flavor to it. The pickled jalapenos, the cream cheese, the soft bagel. That's some good eating stuff right there, boys and girls. So, we don't have a lot of money invested in it. We'll get a lot more than we would if we bought it prepackaged. It wasn't a lot of work to do. Time did most of it for us. So, if you would please like and share, tell your friends where you got it. And remember, be nice to people out there. It's kind of a crazy world, so it doesn't cost anything to be nice. And we'll see y'all next time on Grandpa's Pride.